New York City, a monument to human ambition, where glass and steel stretch to touch the sky. Once, at the heart of this skyline, stood two giants, icons not only of architectural prowess but of human innovation. In the aftermath of World War II, the world was changing. New York, a symbol of capitalist optimism, set out to become a global epicenter of commerce. But this vision required something bold, a World Trade Center unlike anything ever built. The idea of building the world's tallest buildings wasn't just bold, it was borderline impossible. The site, a dense, aging area of Lower Manhattan. The challenge, to transform it into a global hub for trade, culture, and progress. The task was assigned to Japanese-American architect Minoru Yamasaki. His vision was both ambitious and poetic, twin towers that would evoke simplicity, serenity, and strength. Their presence would redefine the Manhattan skyline. The Twin Towers introduced a revolutionary structural concept, the tube frame system. Instead of relying solely on a central core, engineers created a rigid steel perimeter, allowing the buildings to stand tall against wind forces while maximizing interior space. More than 200,000 tons of steel, 425,000 cubic yards of concrete, and one of the deepest foundations in the city. Construction was a dance between man and machine, precise, relentless, dangerous. At its peak, over 3,500 workers shaped the towers day and night. By the time they opened in 1973, the Twin Towers were the tallest buildings on Earth. But their height was only part of the story. Housing over 500 companies from more than 25 nations, the World Trade Center became a living organism of global commerce. Artists, dreamers, and entrepreneurs all looked to the towers, as if drawn to a modern lighthouse. The towers didn't just reflect the New York skyline, they defined it. On September 11, 2001, the Twin Towers fell. Thousands of lives were lost and thousands more were affected. The world stood still, not only in mourning, but in disbelief. Two of humanity's proudest structures reduced to ash and memory. But in the ruins, a different kind of human innovation emerged. Resilience. Recovery. Unity. Where once the towers stood, a new symbol has risen. One World Trade Center. Stronger, smarter, and infused with the lessons of the past. Designed with fortified engineering, sustainable technology, and a form that mirrors both memory and progress. The Twin Towers live on, not in steel or shadow, but in spirit. Their story is now part of us, a story of bold ambition, immense creativity, and the unyielding will to build again. In every corner of our modern world, we see echoes of the same spirit that built the towers, in the cities we raise, the technologies we refine, and the hope we share. The Twin Towers were not merely buildings, they were a declaration that human innovation knows no limit. The original World Trade Center complex, in New York City, featuring the iconic Twin Towers, stood as a testament to architectural innovation and ambition. Below is a comprehensive overview of the Twin Towers' features and statistics. North Tower stood at 1,368 feet 417 meters tall. South Tower measured 1,362 feet 415 meters in height. Floors. Each tower comprised 110 stories. Total floor area. Each tower offered over 4 million square feet of office space. Construction timeline. North Tower. Topped out in December 1970. South Tower. Completed in July 1971. Official dedication. April 4, 1973. Windows and floor dimensions. Windows. Each tower featured 21,800 windows, totaling 43,600 across both towers. Floor size. Each floor spanned approximately 43,560 square feet, equivalent to 1 acre. Structural and engineering highlights. Structural design. Utilized a tube-frame structural system, allowing for open floor plans and resistance to lateral forces. Foundation. Built on a 70-foot deep foundation, known as the bathtub, to prevent water intrusion from the Hudson River. Steel usage. Incorporated over 200,000 tons of structural steel. Concrete. Used approximately 425,000 cubic yards of concrete during construction. They had their own zip code. The World Trade Center complex was so large that it had its own zip code 10048. Occupancy. Approximately 50,000 people worked in the Twin Towers daily. Designed to sway. The towers were designed to sway up to 3 feet in high winds. This flexibility made them more resilient during storms and helped prevent structural damage. Sky lobby system. Instead of having elevators stop on every floor, the towers used a sky lobby system, where express elevators took passengers to transfer floors, sky lobbies, and from there they used local elevators. This allowed for more efficient vertical transport. The Twin Towers were very tall, 110 floors. Having an elevator that stopped on every floor would be slow and require too many elevator shafts, wasting valuable space. Instead, the towers used a sky lobby system. Passengers entered express elevators on the ground floor. These express elevators didn't stop at every floor. Instead, they went straight to certain transfer floors called sky lobbies, on floors like the 44th and 78th. From the sky lobbies, people switched to local elevators that served smaller groups of floors. This system saved space, because fewer elevator shafts were needed. Reduced wait times, especially during rush hours. Was a pioneering solution for high-rise buildings and is still used today in modern skyscrapers. Built with minimal concrete. Unlike many skyscrapers that rely heavily on reinforced concrete, the Twin Towers primarily used steel framing. This lightweight design contributed to both their height and the speed of their construction. Extensive basement depth. The towers had 7 basement levels, excavated through a bathtub structure built to keep the Hudson River from flooding the site. This innovative foundation design became critical during cleanup after 9/11. What this means is 1. 7 basement levels. Underneath the Twin Towers, there were 7 floors built below ground, used for parking, mechanical systems, shopping areas, and access to subways and PATH trains. Subway access. Integrated with the World Trade Center subway stations, accommodating approximately 150,000 commuters daily. 2. Bathtub structure. To build these deep basements next to the Hudson River, engineers created a giant watertight retaining wall around the site. This wall, called the bathtub, kept groundwater and river water from flooding the area. 3. Excavated through. Builders had to dig down through bedrock to create space for these basements while keeping the water out, a huge engineering feat. Why the foundation was critical after 9/11. After the towers collapsed on September 11, 2001, the debris weighed millions of tons and crushed everything down into the basement levels. If the bathtub walls had failed during or after the collapse, the Hudson River could have flooded the entire site, including subway lines in Lower Manhattan. Engineers and rescue teams worked urgently to preserve and shore up the bathtub wall to prevent catastrophic flooding during cleanup and recovery. In short, the bathtub kept the disaster from becoming even worse by preventing a massive flood that could have jeopardized rescue efforts, damaged nearby infrastructure, and caused further loss. Elevator innovations. Otis Elevators installed the towers, high-speed systems, which were among the most advanced in the world at the time. Some elevators could travel at speeds up to 1,600 feet per minute. Elevators and transportation. Elevators. Each tower housed 104 passenger elevators, employing a sky lobby system to optimize vertical transportation. Escalators. The complex contained 71 escalators. North Tower had a massive antenna. A 360-foot television and radio antenna was added to the North Tower in 1978. It broadcasted for most of New York City's major channels. Secret floor. The 110th wasn't really the top. The observation deck was listed as being on the 107th floor, but the very top 110th floor wasn't fully accessible. In reality, some upper mechanical levels were labeled as 110 for consistency. Observation deck. The South Tower featured an observation deck on the 107th floor, offering panoramic views up to 45 miles on clear days. Bomb-proofing was considered early. After a truck bombing in the WTC parking garage in 1993, the buildings underwent substantial security upgrades, including bomb-resistant glass and reinforced barriers, though vulnerabilities remained. They were once the target of base jumpers and daredevils. Several thrill-seekers illegally parachuted or tightroped between the towers, most famously Philippe Petit, who walked a tightrope between them in 1974, a feat later dramatized in The Walk 2015. The Twin Towers not only dominated the New York City skyline but also embodied the spirit of innovation and resilience. Their legacy continues to influence architectural design and urban development worldwide.
American Airlines Flight 11, whilst traveling upwards of 460 miles per hour, had hit the north face of the building, creating a catastrophic chasm in the World Trade Center tower between floors 93 and 99. Flight 11's trajectory reached the very center of the North Tower, cutting through the 3 blocks of staircases in the process. Above the impact point on floor 93, every person's route to safety was destroyed. The reality: 1,344 lives were in mortal jeopardy. The plane's tanks erupted with 90,000 liters of jet fuel upon impact with the North Tower, igniting a ferocious blaze that consumed the building's interior. The North Tower's gypsum-lined stairwells had been obliterated on impact, leaving no one above floors 93 to 99 able to escape. The horror, now damaged elevator shafts provided a lethal conduit for the burning jet fuel to rage through the floors of the building as far as the entrance lobby. An estimated 8,000 people who could evacuate from the floors below the 93rd story point of impact were faced with a chaotic and frightening scenario. The World Trade Center towers were not designed to accommodate a large-scale evacuation. Each of the Twin Towers was equipped with only 3 narrow stairwells leading to the ground level. When the plane struck, the force of the impact caused the structures to shift, jamming doors in their frames and blocking stairwells with debris from shattered walls. This left dozens of people trapped in an increasingly desperate situation. After the second crash, a mass evacuation began in the South Tower, below the impact zone of stories 77 to 85. Confusion reigned. Even though one of the stairwells in the South Tower was undamaged as the plane had hit the building at an offset from the vertical center line and could therefore be a route to safety, it was filled with choking black smoke, leading many to mistakenly make their way upwards towards the roof.